I think this tool makes loot council guilds much more viable than they were before. If you're using RC Loot Council, and I highly recommend you do just for this purpose alone, you no longer have to do data entry. I'm going to repeat that. You no longer have to do data entry to do the record keeping for your Loot Council guild. Okay, I've got a little bit of time here. I'm waiting for a game to download. Gonna have a little break and play some of that. In the meantime, I want to show you, let's log out here. I want to show you That's My Bis. This is a tool I put together last summer. I actually released it the same time I left my guild because my guild master wouldn't bother registering for it to use it. I left because plus I was spending too much time playing WoW. This is, well, as the name says here, it's a tool for World of Warcraft Loot Council guilds. That means World of Warcraft Classic. And more recently, World of Warcraft The Burning Crusade. I added this here public loot tables feature where guilds can come in and they can view the loot tables for either download an entire loot table for an entire expansion, check out a MySQL database for one of the loot tables, or they can come here and they can just publicly view, let's say, the loot tables for Black Temple. Why isn't that? Oh, there we go. WoW had loaded in the icons. But, yeah, I got all the Black Temple stuff in, which means I got all the Burning Crusade loot in, which was a big chunk of work. Happy to have that done. Let's go back a step, though. I want to show you the tool I built. I'm actually pretty proud of it. This is something I've been able to put some free time in here and there to make it happen, and even though I don't play the game anymore, I'm still excited for the game. Obviously, I'm watching people reacting to freaking whatever being released and stuff like that. So yeah, let's sign in. This tool uses Discord for your sign-in and registration. That means if you're signed into Discord, bam, it just signed me in. This means it'll also create your account just like that. It doesn't capture anything other than your username and a couple other bits of Discord data. It doesn't capture your email or anything like that. And to prove it, it's open source. Actually, I've got something here in the FAQ which will point me exactly what information do you collect right here and here. We can see just why not? If I can prove it, why not prove it? When we're creating a new user, we get the username and we get some Discord data. Password is null because we're not using passwords right now, but it's still in the database for some reason. I have a password field. When someone gets redirected to the Discord authentication page, all we use are these scopes, identify and guilds. So we capture just who are you, we need your Discord information back, and we want to see what Discord servers you're in. Discord calls them guilds. That's it. You can review the entire code base and see all of it. That's it. It's totally public. With that being said, here I have the dashboard. I already have a couple test guilds that I'm in right here. First thing is you can belong to multiple guilds. So a guild is basically just a Discord server that has come on and registered. So when you land on the page for the first time, you're not going to see any of this stuff. You're just going to mostly see this, and if there's already any guilds that are already on the website, you're going to see a guild with a join button saying, hey, you can join this guild if you're in the Discord server for that guild. But if you're just a guild master and you're coming on for the first time, you click here, register a guild, brings you to this page. You get to type in my awesome guild. You get to type in whatever name you want. You get to pick one of your Discord servers that you're an administrator of or have management permissions on. I made the permissions loose-ish so that someone with an admin, but not necessarily the Discord owner, can register it. That's to incentivize guilds to, if someone in the guild wants to try it out, even though their guild master isn't interested, you can go and try it out. I was in that exact position myself. You pick your Discord server, click on the bot link, and it's like, hey, you need to add this bot to your server first. So you go through and you add it. The bot doesn't do anything other than just see who's online because it needs to verify who's on the guild. You add it, you pick your expansion. Right now I have Classic and Burning Crusade. And you hit the submit button. I don't want to register that guild right now, or that Discord server, so I'm not gonna. I'll go back a step here. I'm just gonna go to one of my testing servers, one of my testing guilds. In this case, Bis Guild. First page it puts me on is my profile page. When you come here initially, you don't have a list of characters, but I've already made a couple characters on here. A mage, a druid, a shaman, and a priest. And I can see across all my characters which recipes I have, which means other people can see what recipes I have. And cool little tidbit, if I click on a recipe here, it tells me which people in the guild have that recipe. So if I'm looking for it, bam, I already know who has it. I also see who has wishlisted this recipe, who wants it. I can see guild notes on it, and I can still see guild prio notes, who's prioritized, or what characters have been prioritized in which raids for this particular item. In this case, none of this is set because don't care about that item. In my character page, my member profile, I can also see my public note and an officer note. Officer notes appear in various places throughout the website, such as on a character page or a member page. Only people with officer privileges can view them. One thing I think is a nice little bit of design for this website is if I come in here to my admin panel and I come into the settings, which as a person who created the guild I have access to, bunch of stuff in here. At the very top I have my newest feature that I just released the other day, which is the Burning Crusade, meaning I can click on this and I can register my guild to be not just in Classic WoW but also in TBC. It'll be the same Discord server, but an entirely separate page on the website, which is managed separately, so I can have my entire roster in Classic and all my peeps and all my wish lists and stuff, and I can have the exact same thing over in Burning Crusade, but whole different group of people, different roster, different loot, etc. They work entirely independently, but they're still under the same Discord server. I can do a bunch of stuff like change who owns the server, but we're going to skip that. You get other things like I can put in a message of the day everyone can see. You have a little bit of granular control in terms of access to wish lists and priority lists. Prio list is basically just which characters I prioritize for which items. I can do some other stuff like say I don't want my members able to edit the loot that they received. Normally I could go to by default, I can come to my profile page here and I can see, oh, okay, my mage Lava Hopper has received all this loot. I want to edit it. And I can remove stuff. I can reorganize it. Oh, I can reorganize things. I can add things like Thunder Fury. Oh, if I could type. Thunder Fury, Blessed Blade of the Windseeker. I can add stuff like that if I want. I can mess around with it. But if I don't want my guild members able to do that and mess with their loot received, I can just tick this box here, and when I save it, they'll no longer be able to edit that stuff. Same thing with my wish list. As a member, I can say which items I'm looking for and let my guild members and my loot council and all those people know, hey, these are the items I'm gunning for. But if maybe you don't want your members editing that, you can lock it. This is really useful if you want them to be able to put their wish list at the beginning of a new expansion, the beginning of a new raid tier or something like that, and then you want to lock it right after. So maybe you've got like a period, it's like, okay, everyone, go set your wish lists, and then once you're done, once we're starting to raid, I don't want you guys like ninja switching your wish lists at the beginning of every raid. I'm going to come in here and I'm going to lock it. And that little scenario leads me to our next nice feature. I'm going to jump out of the guild settings for just a moment here, and do you see this button? This little link says Audit. I'm going to open the audit. Wabam! Audit Log. This is a feature that I added because I was in a loot council guild, and well, that's why I made this app. Unfortunately, my piece of shit guildmaster wouldn't fucking try it out. But that's beside the point. The audit log is here to let you see all the actions that everyone in the guild did. This includes officers, this includes the guildmaster, and this includes the members. I can check out for anyone, whether it's a particular character, or it's a particular member, or it's a particular raid group, or even what kind of loot, or an item. I can filter by all of these different things and see who has been doing what. So, for example, say my raid leader or my guild, my officer is Lemmings, and I want to see what did Lemmings do. Now I'm seeing all of the actions that Lemmings has ever performed on this guild. I can see stuff down to the level of, okay, they updated their own character profile, they changed the officer note, they modified the guild settings, they assigned an item to a character, and I can see when that happened and which character they assigned it to. So I could open this up and say, okay, Primal Hikari Aegis to Lemmings. Okay, that's the character Lemmings, and this is Primal Hikari Aegis. All right. I can do all that stuff, but maybe I just want to say, okay, I want to see what they did to their wish list, specifically this person, and then bam, I can see all this modifications they did to wish lists, whether it's their own or someone else's wish list, one of the characters. Really high level of, a good level of filtering here on who did what and when. With that being said, I'm going to go back to the guild settings here. If I do stuff like limit wishlist visibility or limit prio visibility, what that's going to do is mean that regular members, unless they're an officer or potentially a raid leader, cannot see other people's wish lists. This is useful if you don't want everyone in the raid to base their wish list off someone else's wish list and strategize. If you want basically blind wish lists, just toggle that on and you won't be able to see other people's wish lists. That's going to have an effect in the audit log where those members can no longer see audit logs with wish list entries. So that stuff's taken care of. And there's other stuff along here like by default, delete items from the prio list, or by default, delete items from the wish list when they are distributed. So when I give something to someone, I can either delete it from their list entirely, or I can leave it in their list and do something like this, cross it out. Let's go back, guild settings. If I have the default settings, which is these unchecked, when I give Lava Hopper the Ring of Swarming Thought, it's going to stay on their wish list but get crossed out. If I tick this box, it's going to change the behavior. Next time, when I give Lava Hopper Ring of Swarming Thought, assuming it hasn't already been given, it's going to actually delete it from their list, so it's just gone entirely. This is good if you want the wish list to get reduced as time goes on, or if you still want to see a record of, oh, they used to have this at number 1, that was their number 2 prio, or sorry, their number 2 wish list item. Or if you get deleted, this goes away, this becomes priority number 1, and it's up to you how you want that to work. You can also do some stuff here like sort wish list by dungeon by default. What that's going to do is when I look at people's wish lists, I can actually toggle it right now without changing the guild settings. I can sort it by dungeon, so I can see all the loot they want in Temple of Ahn'Qiraj, and I can see all the loot they want in Zul'Gurub, and if they had more instances or dungeons in here, it would be separated by dungeon. By default, that setting is off, so it looks like this. Let's go through some more of the guild settings here, and the next chunk is permissions. Now, this is something I'm kind of proud of, and I'm very happy with. This is based on the Discord server you register with. It's going to go and it's going to import all of the roles straight from your Discord server, as well as the colors of the roles. And what that means is, well, I have the Guildmaster role here, and I can choose who in my Discord server should get that role. I have it by default because I created this guild, but I could say maybe everyone with the Patreon rank gets Guildmaster. Then I can say, oh, I can also see here a list of permissions that they get. And I can say for the officer, maybe everyone with main tank role gets officer access. They can create and edit raids. They can view and edit officer notes. They can create and edit other people's characters and loot. That's a pretty big one. And then the raid leader role, people who just lead the raids. Maybe that's going to be people with the Black Lotus role. In my Discord server will automatically get access to assigning raid loot, viewing and editing priorities for items, and viewing other people's wish lists. Even if I have limit wish list visibility, my raid leaders will still be able to see wish lists because they kind of need access to that. Finally, down at the bottom here, I can specify which members of my Discord server are allowed to come and use this guild and sign into it. So based on this, I can say everyone who's a supporter, everyone who is a parser, and everyone who's a main tank. If you have one of those roles, you're allowed to come and join this guild on, well, this isn't the right URL, but it would be that's mybiz.com. Yeah, that's all that stuff about the guild settings. So there's, I add these features as people request them. So each one of the features you see here is pretty much because someone either requested a feature or they complained that, hey, where's this feature? I want to be able to get rid of my guild. So I added a feature to disable your guild. I also saw that when you disabled your guild, it would kind of leave some people confused. So I added a message of the day while I was at it. So if you see features that you'd like to have added onto the website, let me know, and there's a good chance I'll add them. Moving right along, we've got a few other cool pages to look at. I'm going to look at the roster page. This roster page for this guild doesn't have a lot of test data, but it's probably good enough for demonstration purposes. Here I can see my list of characters inside of my guild, and I can see what loot they've already received, as well as what they have wishlisted and what items they're prioritized for. So I'm going to click this button to show all loot, and it'll expand everything automatically. I'm going to go ahead and change my wish list because I want it sorted by raid right now, because say we're in Anchorage and I don't want this Zul'Gurub loot or whatever mixed in with it. I'll just switch like that. Again, I can change that in the guild settings. And now I have a nice overview as a raid leader, as a loot council member, as even a raider, to come and see, okay, who's going to get what. Maybe say this ring drops, and I want to see, okay, who's asked for the ring, RIT, and then I can filter up here, and I can search for who has it. And then I can go and I distribute it to those members. Or maybe I'm a mage, and a piece of mage loot drops, and I want to say, okay, what other mages in my raid? So I'm going to say my raid is DevT raid. Maybe our guild has multiple raid groups. And then I want to see all the mages. And then I can go through, and I've only got one mage here, but you can compare everyone's loot and see who's wishlisted what, who's received what, and whether I'm a raider or I'm a loot council member, I can distribute the loot based on that. I've also got some notes over here, which will show you, well, whatever notes this person left. In this case, there's personal notes. That leads me to another feature. I'm just going to toggle this back on. There's a hidden feature up here. This little shield icon next to your guild name toggles streamer mode. So right now, streamer mode is turned on. There would normally be an officer note here that as an officer I can see, but streamer mode is turned on, so I'm going to turn it off. It's going to reload the entire website. And now if I reload a page, the officer note is going to be there. So that's good if you want to stream the website over Discord or something to people, or Twitch or wherever you're streaming, or take a screenshot. You can toggle streamer mode on, and it'll hide all of the officer notes, so that's sensitive data. You can also do stuff like if you wanted to, you could just toggle the notes column. Maybe you don't want the wish list to be visible, and then bam, take your screenshot. So that's the roster page. The filtering allows you to do quite a bit. Let's say that again, this ring drops. I have another option for what I can do. I can click here, open up a new tab in this case for the ring, and I can see for this particular ring, I can check out stuff like if the guild has any notes for this ring, or priority notes, such as maybe this goes to warlocks first, then it goes to mages, then it goes to shamans, I don't know, elemental shamans. You can check out those guild notes up here. I don't have any character priorities on it yet, but you could also see which characters inside of which raid groups are prioritized for it. In this case, I want to see who's wishlisted it. So again, this is just a list of people who've wishlisted it. I can filter them by raid, I can filter them by class, and down here I can see who already has it. In this case, the user both has it and has it wishlisted. So, loot page is useful. Moving right along, we have another page here, which is a drop-down menu, which is the loot page. So I can go through for each and every raid and see who's been asking for what. In this case, this loot is Anchorage, so I'm going to go to Temple of, is that Ruins? Temple of Anchorage. I'm going to go to Temple of Anchorage, and I do not have good test data on my local server here. A little bit embarrassing, but oh boy. Yeah, that's really bare. I need to find some better test data. I think I have a guild in here, which I imported someone else's data in from. Yes. Okay. So here, I think it looks like we have some Temple AQ loot. Please tell me it's in here. Okay, we've got a couple things that I was playing around with. I can come into Anchorage and see all the loot, the entire loot table. So we've got the mounts up here, kind of out of the way on their own. Their enchants are on their own, tokens are on their own, and then trash loot is categorized in its own section. And I can see boss by boss, their entire loot table, ordered alphabetically. And I can see a couple different things. First off, I can see what characters I, as a loot council member, may have prioritized. So in this case, Garb of Royal Ascension drops. And I can see, okay, for raid 1, I've got these people prioritized for it in this order. Order 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and so on. I wish I had some better wish list data, but I don't. Say it drops and I want to see, okay, these people are prioritized for it, and I can also take into account, if I want to, who's wish listed it. Adrian Cole and Angelus have both wish listed it. They're both in raid 1, which is why they have the pink icon. Their names are both white, meaning they're both priests, and I can see this person has it as their number 1 wish list item and the number 5. Nice quick overview. If I need more data, I open up the item. I can see again the prio is up here, and I can see, okay, this person has a wish listed number 1, but they've received literally everything. This person, it's lower on their wish list, but they haven't received that much. In this case, their last piece of loot was 6 months ago, and their last piece was 4 months ago. So maybe I'm going to give it to Angelus, even though it's lower on their prio list, or their wish list, rather. So you can make decisions like that with this information. You can also check guild notes and whatever. But I don't have very good test data, which is unfortunate. While I'm here, I just want to show you one other thing that I'm kind of proud of, okay? I took a good chunk of time, and I recently put together the loot tables for all of Burning Crusade. This is several months ahead of it, and I don't even play the game anymore. This took a good chunk of time. But yeah, all the loot tables for all of Burning Crusade are also here as well. So if you want to plan early and figure out who's going to get the Warglaves, then you can come here and do it. So also adding in support for Burning Crusade also means that all I need, I think, are the loot tables for Wrath of the Lich King, and then I can also add Wrath support as well. I did a lot of work to get that feature working where you can switch between expansions, but I'm super happy with the results. Moving along, we have another page here, the Assign Loot page. And this page has a little bit of fun functionality I'll get to in just a minute. So you come in here, this is assuming you're on raid night and you're going about doing your business. I can say, okay, we're doing raid 1, and I only want to show characters for raid 1. And I say Garb of Royal Ascension drops. There it is. And I take this and I move it over there, and I take this and I move it over here, and I want to come in, and what guild am I in? I'm in Grinder's Inc. Okay. That didn't quite open. Oh, right, that opens up a different page. My bad. Grinder's Inc. Loot. Temple of Anchorage. And I can come through here and I can keep track of my gear as it's dropping. I can do all my other searching and blah, blah, blah. I'll look things up here. And as I'm going, it can say, okay, Garb goes to Adrian. It's their off spec though. So I'll make a note of that. I can leave any public notes or officer notes about this. And as I'm going through and as I'm giving out loot, as the raid is going on, I should probably type more of the name of the Immortal. Man, I can't type right now. Gloves of the Immortal. And those drop, and I'm like, okay, what is this? Cloth. Oh, that's garbage. Maybe a priest wants it for the PvP set. I go through and I do all the things. At the very end, I can submit it, and it's going to give all these people this loot. But I can come back and I can make alterations and adjustments. Maybe I initially gave it to Adrian, but Adrian traded it to Bobby, so I'm going to, okay, it was actually Bobby. Make my edits and submit it. I can do all of that. But what I can also do is, at the very top here, we have a neat little thing called Import Loot. This is another feature that people requested, and I went ahead and I added. So if I click on Import Loot, paste your CSV data, max 150 rows. What this means is if you're going about in-game and you're playing, and you have an add-on running, like RC Loot Council, that add-on is keeping track of all the loot that's dropping and who's getting it. When you finish your raid, or you finish for that night, or if you go back and you get old data from a week ago, you can come onto this page. You can copy your CSV, your data, from your game and paste it straight into here and hit load data. It's going to take 150 rows of data that you would otherwise have to put in manually, and it's going to match all of the items up to the appropriate characters. It's going to import a note if you had one. It's going to import off-spec if it was off-spec. It's going to do a ton of stuff. It's going to populate up to 150 of these. If you have more than 150 datas, you just do 150, submit it, come back, do the next 150, and so on. You know, you can get through 1,500 entries in just 10-page submissions. It'll take a couple minutes, and you can put 1,500 entries of data into the website. So, extremely powerful tool. If you're using RC Loot Council, and I highly recommend you do just for this purpose alone, you no longer have to do data entry. I'm going to repeat that. You no longer have to do data entry to do the record keeping for your Loot Council guild. For items, at least. If you have other data you want to do in manually, that's fine. But, man, I'm really upset that my guildmaster didn't want to come and try this tool. I kind of want to punch him. I spent so much time on this. And the son of a bitch, anyway, moving right along. The reason I'm sharing this video now is because I went and I did all the work to make this work for Burning Crusade as well. So when Burning Crusade comes along, all this stuff for Classic's going to work for BC as well. We have admin features. So I already showed you the settings page where you can configure the guild. And you can set permissions and who's allowed to come onto the website, who has access to what features. Now I'm going to move on to exports. This is a feature that I added about a week ago. People asked for it. I added it. You can come in and you can download CSVs of all your data. You can download a giant JSON blob with literally all the information about all the characters, their metadata like their level and their class and their race. It'll have all the loot they received, their wish lists, their prio lists. All of that can be viewed in one big JSON file. And that's just like, bam, you can go and you can like just grab that and you can import it into some other tool you have or just save it if you want to back it up. It's all there and freely accessible. If I want to just save my guild notes, I can either download a CSV or I can view it. And I can say, okay, this is just, and this guild doesn't have any notes, but if I had notes for like Frostfire Ring and like guild notes for that, I could just copy all that and back it up or save it. I could transfer it to Google Sheet. I could do whatever I want with it. Same thing for wish lists and prios. I have one guild who is exporting their wish lists every week, and they have I forget the name of it. What's the add-on you can use to make your own scripts and stuff in-game with Lua script, I'm guessing. Anyway, whenever they hover over an item in-game, the data from their wish list gets presented underneath of that item in-game because they're downloading the CSV and importing it into their little custom script they wrote. Shit like that. It's fucking awesome. So you can export your data. Your data belongs to you. Do whatever. If you want to convince someone else to use the website, or if you want to maybe give them access to the tables but they don't want to register, click this little link. And again, they've got access. This page is totally free and public. They can download the loot tables for Sunwell Plateau. You've got all the items and which boss it goes to. This is trash items, recipes, Calicos, Brutalis, Felmist. You can just download all this. And if you included like the link and stuff, the item ID, and they can use this to populate their Google Sheet or do whatever they want with it. I made all this stuff public and free. They can also come through and again, they can check out whatever boss and they can just get a little preview of, I just want to see the loot. It's all there. Even the MySQL databases that I used to develop this are here and publicly available. I've got an export here, which is a little bit too big to see in GitHub. Here, this is the one that has all of the different bosses and loot sections, ties them up to whichever instance they belong to. This is a list of just the instances for Burning Crusade. This is a list of what item goes to what loot source. So Moreau's drops, I've got the notes over here, all these different items. But this is stuff that if someone wanted to make their own database or their own application just like this, all the relationships and all that work, it's done, it's here, it's freely available. You can check it out for Burning Crusade and for Classic. Or if you don't need something that complicated like an actual app, you've got CSV, which actually can still be used in an application. So I'm proud of that. Members page. This guild only has 2 members, and none of the characters appear to be assigned to players, so we got this big old mess. Let's open up a different guild. Let's look at the member page. Again, I only have one other test account on here and then myself. But I can see, okay, this member has these characters assigned to it. Just quick access to seeing what I can do with the character, to edit them. I've got one character up here which is unassigned. Nobody owns the character, but it's in the system. And you can do stuff like I can come into this other member's profile because I'm an admin. I can edit it. And if I want, I can toggle that person as inactive. I save that. And now everywhere I see them, it says inactive. If I come here, bam, they're hidden. They're in this little hidden away section with the inactive members. You know, you've got important stuff like that for managing your guild, which when you're first building this application, or I am, it's like, okay, this will be easy. I just do the loot. But then there's all those other edge cases like, oh, this person left the guild. We want to remove them from the guild. So, okay, I have to add an inactive feature. Fine. And then it's like, oh, well, this character is here and you know what, this character doesn't get played anymore. Okay, fine, you can make the character inactive or you can toggle them as an alt or whatever. And it's like, okay. So now if I come here, I just made Lava Hopper 2 inactive. Now they're grayed out. If I come into the roster, for instance, they're not there anymore. If that character ever comes back, it's just a matter of finding their profile, probably through the members page, because this is the only place they'll be visible. And okay, they're no longer inactive. And now they're back in the roster. It's just stuff like that. It's those tiny things that get added to the website over time that make this a more and more powerful tool and nicer to work with as a guild master or as an officer. It just has the features you need. So this is member overview. Specific to admins, regular members don't need access to this page, or they don't need to see it because generally they don't need the overview. That being said, they can access this page if they know the URL. They just won't see stuff like officer notes. Otherwise, it's public information they could figure out anyway if they tried. We have access to the raid groups, creating new raids, editing them. You can disable raids. Again, it's stupid little features like this, which are easy to overlook, but they take quite a while longer to put together and make sure the rest of the website no longer sees this raid if I disable it. But it's that kind of stuff that's important to making this tool actually a good tool to work with and not just a good tool at face value. If you see that, okay, this website has all the loot tables and prios and wishlist, great. But if I can never remove a raid, if I can never remove a member or a character, it's not so great. I can come and I can check out all my Discord roles and I can manually trigger a sync so it'll get all the new colors and remove missing roles and etc. I can create a bunch of characters. Oh, I've got sections here where I can come in and I can add notes. So for each item that's going to drop, I can add a note that appears alongside the item. So maybe Husk of the Old God. I see this Priest, Mage, Warlock. Maybe I'm going to say this goes to Mage, then it goes to Warlock, then it goes to Priest, then it goes to Druid. And now when we're looking at that item and we're trying to figure out who it goes to, we'll have this note next to it saying, oh, that's the prio list. And I can add anything else I want over here. And it's separated by instance, same thing for Burning Crusade. So you can add all this data and submit it. My guild had to go through and do this in a spreadsheet. It was messy, it was sloppy. You had problems with anyone could edit it. Now, only officers can come in and edit this page. And you get to determine who those people are based on the settings in the website, which is based off of the roles in your Discord server. So if you give someone an officer role in your Discord server, bam, the officer can now come and edit this. How sweet is that? If you don't want them editing that, just change the roles inside the website. Like permissions. Google Sheets doesn't have permissions. It's either you can access it and edit everything or none of it. So this was a huge problem that I wanted to overcome for my guild, but again, fuck you. I'm not going to say his name. Kind of upset with I don't actually hate my guild master, but I am kind of frustrated at him. So same thing for prios here. Say we want to go to Cthulhu. And it's like, oh, okay, Cloak of Clarity, 8 mana per 5. First I'm going to prioritize Shaman up top, then the Priests. Oh, it's weird it didn't get the Priest in there. But then I'm going to prioritize the Priests. Maybe Lemmings just doesn't have a class right now. Interesting. And then, yeah, this is where I can come through, and for each item I can say who's going to get this item, and no, I don't want you on there twice, in what order. Then when I come through and I check out this item, not only can I see the notes beside it, now I can see who's next in line to get it, and I can also see who's wishlisted the item and who's already received it. And I can filter that by raid group, and I can filter it by class, and there's just so much good stuff. What's the next? Actually, that's it. I think I ran you through most of the main features. There's a bunch of little stuff I probably forgot, like streamer mode there. I wouldn't have thought about that if it wasn't already toggled on. But that's my website. Sorry, that's my bis. You can visit at that'smybis.com. That'smybis.com. And this is the live website. I'm going to go into here and bam, check it out. Sign in. Literally just sign in with your Discord, and it doesn't take anything other than that. And happy raiding. I think this tool makes loot council guilds much more viable than they were before. Thanks for your time. Have a great day. Happy raiding. Bye-bye.